Thank you. Ministers, yesterday I raised the issue of the chronic and worsening imbalance between the northern and western region and the rest of the country. Now, I've been banging on about this for a long time, but of course the stats are there and the figures show it, and Europe has downgraded the region vis-à-vis other European regions for the second time in 3 years. It's gone from a region in transition now to a lagging region. So the stats are there. I won't bore you quoting them to you. I've done it many times. And I had hoped that something in yesterday's budget or some statement from either of the two ministers would have given me a bit of hope that this government would do something to reverse the ever-widening gap. I mean, because that's factually the way things are. Now, Minister, there is something that can still be done, and that is because that decision, I'm not sure it has been taken, but that decision, if we could maintain the 9% VAT in the tourism and hospitality sector, while that would have a national impact, and that's a good thing, but the crucial thing is it would have a much greater impact in the northern and western region, and in particular in the border regions. It would be hugely significant. There are many reasons for this. Tourism and hospitality are really important sectors in that region. We don't have the same numbers of high-value jobs as other parts of the country. And our indigenous tourism and hospitality sector is so valuable, not just for our larger towns like Sligo and Carrick and Shannon, but so many smaller towns like Drumshanbo, Boyle, Tubbercurry, Enniscrone, Manorhamilton, Ballyshannon, and many smaller villages, and I won't name them because there are very many, where the local hotel, the local guest house, the local restaurant or cafe is a pivotal role in supporting local jobs and often ensuring that local produce is served, as well as being a social space for both locals and tourists. So given that tourism and hospitality play such a pivotal role in the economic and social fabric of the northern and western region, any increase in the VAT rate would have an especially detrimental impact on the indigenous economy and, in fact, accelerate the growing regional disparities. I believe that within this budget, this is something that this government can do. As I said, it has a national impact, but it will have a greater impact in the border regions. But, Ministers, you'll be aware, as we are, that there's a more immediate issue, and that's the drop in sterling compared to the euro. This will impact nationally, but will hit harder in the border regions. It'll hit them even harder. You know, how can hotels, restaurants, cafes, guest houses remain competitive when their counterparts across the border, have weaker sterling? The strength of the euro is already a huge challenge, but on top of that, if VAT is increased at the end of February, many businesses will be unable to compete. And the truth is, Irish people will vote with their feet and they will travel north. You'll have tourists coming in with a strong euro, a strong dollar, and where will they travel? They'll travel to where they get the best value for hospitality, and those businesses will be north of the border. And no matter how the businesses south of the border try to remain competitive, they won't be able. And even in that, Minister, I'm not factoring in the huge jump in energy prices. And unfortunately, what we could see, and I hope we don't, is the domino effect take hold. Tourism businesses in the northern and western region have to absorb significantly higher costs, like all other businesses, but they have to compete with a much more competitive sector in Northern Ireland because of weak sterling. And if we pile on a 50% increase in VAT on top of that, some businesses just won't be able to take the escalating costs. So I'm making a strong case that now and for at least the next 12 to 18 months that the government would maintain a 9% VAT rate on hospitality and tourism. It's perhaps not the most popular thing to say, but I have to look at the area and the region that I represent, and I know that will make a significant difference. It will matter nationally, and that's good, but it would be a crucial intervention in the border counties. Thank you.
Deputy. And as